Hello folks, it's time for the electric car lease deals of the month. The petrol, diesel stuff, hybrids will come a video later this week. For now, we are just looking at full EVs. Most of these are 3-year deals. There might be the odd 2-year deal thrown in. They're all on 10,000 miles a year with 3 months up front. There is some phenomenal value in here, so I shall waste no further time and get on with it. Link to Lease Loco and today's sponsor ALA Insurance is in the video description for you. Please use those links as it's how I support the channel. 𝙇𝙄𝙉𝙆𝙎 Spring is first, 27 kilowatt hour extreme 65, 140 miles of range, 78 mile an hour top speed, 65 brake horsepower, 25 is the insurance group, and 308 litres of boot space. You've got 0 to 62 time of this one of 13.7 seconds. So it's not exactly rapid, but it's a tiny little car. £521 up front, 174 quid a month, all bar the shouting. And let's have a look at the price history on it. 341 at its peak when it was first announced, basically, when it first became available to order. It's now at £173 a month and 78 pence with 521 up front. VW ID.3 Match Pure. So this is the one with the smaller battery. So you've got 240 miles of range in this one. 842 up front and 280 a month. 385 litres of boot space. Insurance group 21. 170 brake horsepower. 0 to 62 in this one is 8.2 seconds. So not too shabby. 280 at the moment with 842 up front against an average of 315. Lowest point on it was 267. So it's been a little bit less than it is right now. But as you can see, the pricing's been fairly steady at around about 280 to 290 for quite a lot of the last 12 months. 632 at its peak, however. Yikes. If you need a bit more power than that and a bit more range, you can also get the Match Pro S, 345 miles of range. It's a bit quicker, a bit more powerful, 1,071 up front and 357 a month. And if we look at the average on that one, 426 has been the average. It's only ever been 3 or 4 quid less than it is right now. Currently 357 with 1,071 up front. This sort of menu on the right gives you all the different variants of the car. I'm probably covering most of those, my fat head, but go and have a poke around and you might find something you like. Kia Niro EV 2 nav. £311 and 98 pence a month with 935 up front, 285 miles of range, 201 brake horsepower, 475 litres of boot space, and insurance group 29. Now, this one has been on average £383 a month. At its peak, 436. Its lowest point was 20 quid a month less than it is right now. But you can see that was for a couple of minutes, a couple of times that's happened, where it's dipped sort of below the £300 mark. And then it just goes right back up. For most of January and February, this was well over 350 quid a month, 400 quid a month at times. Currently 311 up front and 935 a month on what is a brilliant little car. If you wanted to get yourself some gap insurance on that, obviously it's a brand new car. Car insurers are not particularly generous when cars get written off, and lots of cars do get written off. Consider getting yourself some gap insurance. So let's get a quote for this on ala.co.uk. I've just put in the absolute basic details. We're going to say 3 years, car's 37 grand to buy, 3 years worth of cover, up to £1,000 for your initial payment. So that goes towards your deposit on another one. And then we are looking at a monthly rental of, what was it? We'll say £312 a month. They're also going to give you 250 quid towards your car insurance excess. Obviously, if the car's written off, there's an excess to pay. That's coming in at £160.43 if you pay in full. That's for 3 years cover. That's not a price per month or per year. That's for 3 years cover. But if we come over here and put in the code 𝘼𝙉�10, that brings it down to 151.98. So basically 50 quid a year to cover you for something that could save you, I don't know, a couple of grand possibly. Well worth considering. If you do want to go ahead with that, there's a link popping up on the screen with a QR code that will take you directly to this and give you that 10% discount. And that code 𝘼�10 works site-wide. So if you want to go and use ALA, use that code 𝘼�10 and it will save you a few quid. Thanks to ALA for sponsoring today's video. Renault 5 E-Tech 90 kilowatt techno urban range, £325 per month with 976 up front, 191 miles of range, 120 brake horsepower, insurance group 19 and 277 litres of boot space. So I don't think we've seen this car get anywhere near its bottom price yet, because if we look at that last car, that was a £37,000 car. This one's considerably cheaper to buy, but the leasing price is still high. And that's probably because there's a lot of demand for it at the moment. So if you are looking for one of these, maybe just wait it out a bit. I don't know. I think the residual values might be quite strong, which might mean you get a really good lease price on them. However, if they're selling bucket loads of them, they might not give the leasing companies the same kind of discounts as they do on cars that they want to shift in higher numbers. So probably wait and see a little bit at the moment on the Renault 5, but I don't think that's a terrible price right now for what is a very desirable car. That is until you look at the Renault Megane E-Tech, which gives you more of everything. And it's cheaper, 937 up front and £312 a month, 440 litres of boot space, insurance group 27, 217 brake horsepower, 280 miles of range. This car's got quite a lot going for it. It's just not quite as sexy as that Renault 5. 7.5 seconds to 62. £432 a month on average, £674 at its peak. And it's currently £1.50 more than it was at its lowest point, which was about 2 hours ago. That was £310.67 about 2 hours ago. It's currently £312.37 a month with 937 up front. That is exceptional value on what is a really lovely car. I have driven one of these. It is a very nice car to drive. It does feel more premium than you would expect for a Renault. I can very confidently say that to you if your expectations of Renault were the same as mine. It's a nice piece of kit, so that's one to have a serious think about. Another car that's completely new to the market is the Ford Puma Gen E. This is the Select 43 kilowatt hour, 345 a month with 1,000 up front, 556 litres of boot space, insurance group 18, 168 brake horsepower, 233 miles of range. Obviously, we're all familiar with the Ford Puma. It's one of the most popular cars in the UK. But this is the new electrified version of it. Not lacking for boot space, which is good to see in what is really quite a small car. 0-62 time, 8 seconds on that one. 416 has been the average so far, 527 on sort of launch day, if you like. And this is the lowest price we've seen it so far. Actually, no, this is 12p a month more than the lowest price we've seen it so far, but we won't split hairs. Again, the pricing could settle down on this one and get much lower than this at some point. But at the moment, it's the lowest price it's seen, all bar 12p a month. 1,035 up front, 345 a month. E-3008 GT, £371 a month with 1113 up front, 325 miles of range, 588 litres of boot space, and that one's insurance group 33. Let's have a look at the price history on it. 483 has been the average, 766 at its peak, and today is the lowest price we've seen it at 371.27. Back in October, that was 553 a month. In November, 481, 492. Currently 371 with 1113 up front. Good time to get in one. Ford Capri Select, £382 a month with 1146 up front, 389 miles of range, 286 brake horsepower, insurance group 29 and 572 litres of boot space. 498 has been the average on it, 537 at its peak, and again this is the lowest price we've seen it so far, £382 and 25p a month, with 1,146 up front for a car that's got nearly 400 miles of range and nearly 300 brake horsepower. Not bad. Obviously, very, very similar car is the Ford Explorer Select, 381 a month with 1143 up front. The numbers are really quite similar on that, although the Capri's got the bigger boot of the two. Although, I don't know, this looks the bigger car, but it's clearly not. Maybe you get a bit more legroom in this one in the back. I don't know yet. I've got this one coming for review in 2 weeks, I think, so I'll let you know then. 1143 up front, 381 a month. 456 has been the average on it. 515 at its peak, 369 at its lowest point. So we're about 12 quid a month more than that lowest point. But that lowest point came back in September, and it's currently April. And don't forget, we now have this expensive car tax to contend with. So I'm guessing the lease prices that we're seeing now are inclusive of that. By the way, on that point, make sure you check that when you go through and speak to the broker. On Lease Loco, how it works is you find the deals, you go to the compare deals button, and then eventually you will get through to a broker. Be very, very clear with them that you need to know if the price you're looking at includes any kind of tax that applies to the car, including that luxury vehicle tax or expensive car supplement, because that could make quite a difference. VW ID.7 Tourer Match Pro. We've seen this one a lot lately, so I'm not going to go over the numbers again, but there's an exciting version of this as well. So this one's 403 a month, and if you look at the average on it, it's been 472. 377 was the lowest point on it, but it's been around this £400 mark for an age now, for like a quarter probably. If we go to the spicy one now, this is the GTX, and I will look at the numbers on this. 359 miles of range, 340 brake horsepower, insurance group 41, 605 litres of boot space, and 5.5 seconds to 62. So this really is a flying machine. Now, that one was 1,430 when it first came out. 644 has been the average on it, currently 491. So if you want a spicy, big, practical mile muncher, maybe that's the one for you. BYD Seal design, £419 a month with £1,259 up front, 354 miles of range, insurance group 48, 400 litres of boot space, 312 brake horsepower. A worthy contender to the Model 3 was my verdict on this when I tested them both in quick succession. 533 a month on average, 687 at its peak. At its lowest point, it was quite a bit less than this, it was 391, but that was in June. So it was a long time ago, folks, and the world has changed a fair bit since then. In recent times, this has been sort of 450, 457, 417, 425. So at the moment, it looks like a decent price for the time we're in today. $1,259 up front and $419 a month. Very sexy little car. Okay, Peugeot E-3008 GT is next. $1,288 up front and $429 a month. 308 miles of range, 213 brake horsepower, insurance group 35 and 348 litres of boot space. This one, of course, is a 7-seater, which is why the boot space looks small. Pop those back seats down and look, you've got more boot. 9.7 seconds to 62. 573 has been the average on it. Over $1,000 when it was first out. That's bananas. I don't suppose anyone leased one for $1,000. And if they did, I hope they sought psychiatric help afterwards. 401 at its lowest point. Currently 429 with 1288 up front. This one's been around for a bit now. It's the Lexus RZ300e Urban. This one's in stock as well. 297 miles of range, 522 litres boot space, insurance group 38, 204 brake horsepower. Lowest point on this one is now, today, like right now. Highest point on it, £657 a month. On average, £547 a month. Currently 470 with 1,411 up front. I still haven't driven the RZ, but it is a Lexus. Kia EV3 GT line, 81.4 kilowatt hours, £478 a month with 1,436 up front, 367 miles of range, 460 litres of boot space, insurance group 37, 201 brake horsepower, and a 0-62 time of 7.9 seconds. 563 has been the average on it. 797 at its peak, and its lowest point, it was £4 a month less than it is now. 1,436 up front and 478 a month. The Polestar 4 long range single motor plus, 385 miles of range, 272 brake horsepower, 526 litres of boot space, and insurance group 45. 0-62 on that one, 7.1 seconds. 536 a month, bang on at the moment with 1,608 up front. At its peak, it was £988 a month. You can see for quite a period when it first came out, it was hovering around about that 900 quid mark, apart from a couple of little dips. And then it sort of dropped properly towards the end of September, and it came down to about 630. And we're now looking at far more sensible pricing: 744 a month on average, 988 at its peak, 536 right now, with £1,608 up front. Folks, just a very quick reminder to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Thanks. BMW i5 eDrive 40 M Sport, £607 a month with 1,822 up front. This one's the saloon version. 490 litres of boot space, 340 brake horsepower, 374 miles of range, and 0 to 62 in 6 seconds. 732's been the average on it, £1,000 at its peak. Its lowest point was really a lot less than this. It was 65 quid a month less than this, but the deal on that was around for like a week, 2 weeks, and then it was gone. This seems to be sort of a fairly sensible place for it to sit, but it's gone silly cheap once before, so it might happen again. But BMW electric car sales have been doing really, really well, so they might not need to push this as much as perhaps they thought they did last year. Let's wait and see. Obviously, the luxury car tax comes into account now as well. 1,822 up front and 607 a month versus an average of 732 and a peak of £1,000. There's still an I-Pace around. Of course, it's in stock because you can't factory order one anymore. £2,000 up front, 668 a month, 1,600 a month at its peak, 1,100 on average. At its lowest point, it dropped to 130 quid a month less than it is right now. But I don't know, the price has gone back up a little bit, maybe just because it's rarefied air now. 668 a month with £2,000 up front. And I must say, compared to that average, that looks like a very healthy price. And against that highest price, it looks like a Billy bargain. Audi A6 e-tron Avant S-Line. This one's the 83 kilowatt hour, 361 miles of range, 286 brake horsepower, insurance group 43 and 502 litres of boot space, £2,500 up front and 820 a month, which seems like a hell of a lot of money. But look at this, the average on it's been 988 a month, 1,209 a month at its peak, currently 820 a month. And that's the lowest price we've seen it thus far. Please use the link to Lease Loco. Please go and support my sponsors, ALA Insurance. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment. Don't forget the thumbs up. They really, really do help. And I'll see you on the next one. Stay safe. Huge thanks to all my channel members for your continued support. I really do appreciate it.